right, you guys. So before we get into today's video, I just need to address a few folks that popped up in my comments on the last video that I posted about the owner of Mama's Gifted Hands and one of her employees being released. People were saying that, oh no, this wasn't true. I don't know if you were watching on, mute or just not looking at the screen, but I literally pulled up the official inmate website that showed the release date and time. So since some people must have missed it, I went ahead and screenshotted it and circled the release date so nobody can say that they missed it. The information is right here in black and white. And just to be clear, according to those same records from the inmate website, the younger staff member, Julia Ondo, she was also released the next morning at 8:53 a.m. So Mama's Gifted Hands was released on November 27th at 12:05 p.m. And then her employee, I'm going to call her Gladys, she was released also that same day, November 27th at 8:39 p.m. And then the youngest one, who is Julia Ondo, she was released the next morning, November 28th at 8:53 a.m. So now that we've cleared that up, let's talk about all the people who've been sharing their own stories about being scammed or mistreated by certain African braiders and what that says about how these shops are doing business.
So I definitely just had to hop in here about the tea on Mama's Gifted Hands, okay? So the African hair shops, they definitely do be on that because why? I just moved to Texas a month ago, so I didn't have anybody to do my hair. So I just want to get my natural hair braided. This style right here, the style that I have right here, that I put in, it was $80 for cornrows, simple cornrows, and like $100 if you wanted some designs or something like that. And so I get there and she does my hair, and then she tells me that this style, because it's singles in the back, is considered Fulani braids. So I ended up paying like $200 to get my natural hair braided. And then I wanted the beads put on there because it ended up a little thinner than I wanted it to be, which was no problem. So I asked for the beads to be put on there. Didn't even have enough beads. She had put like one bead. It's just like, why would you offer it if you can't do it? So she put like one bead per one. I went to a hair store and got the rest of the beads myself and just added a little extra. You see some of them still have one because I wasn't about to do all that. But yeah, these Africans, they definitely be on one. And then she had the nerve to keep asking me the whole time, are you okay? Are you okay? No, I'm not okay, but I'm gonna pay this price and I'm gonna get up out of here. But just my little input about the Mama's Gifted Hands. Yeah, she would have had to tussle. She would have had to tussle, girl, because that's why.
$200 is crazy. No extensions, nothing elaborate or, nothing crazy. Just adding one bead and charging $200. And this is exactly why a lot of people are boycotting and stating that they are not going to patronize these businesses. But let's get into this next story where same situation, you get quoted one price, but once you're in the chair, all of a sudden the price goes up on you.
You decide to go to Amy's African Braiding in Tampa, beware. Make sure you get your price and all of that in writing, or they will scam you like they just scammed me. This lady just played in my whole face. I called to inquire about their services. The owner told me it was $220 for the style that I wanted. Hey, get here, sit down. I say, hey, I brought some hair. Can you use this hair? No, we can't use that hair. Even though the hair she pulled out looked exactly like the hair that I have. So why she couldn't use the hair that I had, whatever. Okay, that's fine. So then I get plain black instead of the color. And she braids this quadrant of my hair. He hasn't said two words other than the color to me. I'm sitting there just working on my phone or whatever. She's talking on the phone and other people doing her thing. When she then moves to the back of my hair, she says, oh, and she pulls down the back of my hair. Oh, your hair is long, so I'm going to have to braid it down further. And I said, how far? I didn't want a lot of long hair hanging for the things I'm about to be doing. I wanted to basically like the top of my butt. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't really want that. And so then she moved her hand up She's like, right here, right here. And I'm just like, okay, if you're telling me that's what you have to do to braid my hair, even though I'm thinking I just had my hair braided and she didn't have to braid down that far and it was fine. She said, oh, because when you take it out, you'll have to cut the ends and you can't cut the ends because, you know, your hair will be mixed in, so you can't cut the ends. I said, okay. So I'm just like, okay, I guess I have to get it longer for whatever method or style you're doing. I said, okay, how much is that? And she said $280. I said, oh, no. That doesn't work for me. So we got to figure out some other kind of workaround. And she was like, oh, okay. I said, no, the most I could do for that, meaning the extra butt length, would be $250. I said, that's the extent of my budget. She never once said $250 to me. I'm the one that brought up the number $250, meaning to the butt area, the most I could do was $250. I said, that doesn't work for me. I said, you can't unravel the ends. She showed me the ends. She said, yeah, because they're tied off. I said, okay, that's fine. You can't, you know, unravel. She's like, well, yeah, you can unravel them. I said, yeah, I'll do that. I won't cut them. I'll just unravel the ends. She said, okay, well, we'll just do this, you know, do the regular. I said, okay, so we back at the original price? She said, yes. And I said, okay, so we're back at the original. I said that twice. She said yes. She continues on, finishes my hair, didn't offer me a mirror to look at it or anything like that. So I said, can I use your restroom? I go to the bathroom and look at it. It's like, dang, yo, their tuck method wasn't really good because there's several that my hair is still poking out. And I'm like, oh, I wanted these to last at least a month because I got 2 trips coming up. I'll make it work. That's what I'm telling myself. I said, how do you want to pay? I said, the owner said you guys have Apple Pay, so I'd like to use Apple Pay. And she said, okay. I said, where's your scanner? The owner's gone. I was like, okay, so how can I pay with Apple Pay? I said, does she have the reader with her? Where's the, she's gone. So then her and the other lady start talking. Then they're like, oh, just put in the phone number. I said, that's Apple Cash. That's not Apple Pay. They're 2 totally different things. No, Apple Pay, just put in the number. I said, no, that's not Apple Pay. That's Apple Cash. That comes out of your bank. Apple Pay goes to your card. I wanted to get my points. Other lady calls the owner and she's telling her, you know, whatever. And then she hangs up and she says you can use Apple Pay. I said, okay, where's the reader for Apple Pay? And then she's like, no, here, just put in this number. I said, okay. Realizing it is lost in the sauce. I said, I'll use Apple Cash, even though that is not what I wanted to use. That's not what I was told I could use. I said, but for future reference for yourself and for your customers, do not tell them you have Apple Pay when you only have Apple Cash. I said, they're 2 totally different things. You know, some people don't even have Apple Cash set up. And I send the money to the number she said. I said, okay, to verify this is the number, you know, and I put the information in there, clarify myself and all of the things, put it in. So then once the lady reads the message, I show her and I said, she read it, so it's good to go. And I'm picking up my stuff and she said, wait, how much did you pay? I said, $220, which was the agreed upon amount. That's the amount she told me when I called. She said, no, it was $250. I said, no, it was $220. She said, no, I told you $250. I said, no, you didn't. I said $250 when you were talking about the butt length braids. $250 never came out of your mouth. Then this lady straight up just lied to my face. It's like, yes, I told you $250 as soon as you sat down. No, you didn't. So I always say tell the price as soon as the person sits down. I said, no, you did not. I said $250 never came out of your mouth once. I'm the only person that said $250. You never said well, maybe you didn't hear me. I said, no, I heard everything you said just fine. You didn't say it. I said, so maybe you do every other time. You did not this time. No, I said $250 because it was long. I said, yeah. And then once we figured out a solution to go back to the braid, like bra strap length, which is right here. The bra strap right here. I said the bra strap length was $220, which is what you told me. I said, no, I was going to do the extra length. We agreed that I just have to take out the things without cutting them. And that's fine. But no, I said $250 was the original. I said, no, it was not. So this lady sitting here arguing back and forth with me, lying. Then the other lady is starting to chime in. I'm done. I don't want any trouble. I said I was gonna do a video and put them on. I mean, that's before I actually inspected my hair. The salon was clean. They were prompt and on time, all of the things. I was even 7 minutes late because I got stuck in traffic. I called, let them know that I was gonna be 7 minutes late. She said, no problem. Thank you for calling. So I was ready to give them some free advertisement. I said, no, I'm gonna go ahead and pay this. I said, but trust and believe, I will never be back. And I will tell the people I know, don't come here. And I'm going to post this on social media because this is wrong. You never said that. If you had said that for what I got, I would have said, no, that's okay. Because you're just trying to get over it at this point. You're doing the same thing you said you would do. Well, no, I had to braid down farther. I don't give a rat's behind how far you had to braid down. If the doggone braid stopped at my bra strap, that's the length we agreed on. You're telling me before you would have braided and left this much of the ends free? Bye, lady. I'm not telling you what to do. If you choose to go to Amy's, make sure when you sit down in that chair, you get it in writing and confirmation what your price is going to be. And before you go, know that the payment method options they have. Apple Pay, they don't have Apple Pay. They have Apple Cash. So if your bank account isn't set up and you don't come with any more funds, I guess you're going to be out of gas. I don't know. I didn't have cash on me and I don't have Zelle.
I'm sorry. What's up, nieces? This is Nadine. This is not one of those usual videos where Brandy and I make for commercial purposes. This is one of those videos that I have to make with a heart full of sadness. I know that you have seen videos and videos about the drama happening in African shops where our client get disrespected, insulted, humiliated, and it has been the top one topic going on TikTok. I took my time, I watched it, and I'm here today because deep inside me, my whole soul wants to say, I'm sorry. I am truly sorry, and I'm the voice of those that could not reach you guys, because I know our platform is very rich, and I hope that you guys should share this video to express how sorry we, the Africans, we, the immigrants, we are, because I do understand we have done so much wrong.
All right, so we heard Nadine's apology, and a lot of people are saying that they're just not buying it. And we see that the prices have gone up on people once they've gotten in the chair. And unfortunately, I think the honest braiders are being overshadowed by the ones who take advantage of people. But drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about all of this, you guys. I always love to hear what you all are thinking. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, I thank you all for watching and listening. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Please give this one a thumbs up and be sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from what's happening.